Throughout the ages, history has been altered by word of mouth and the misrepresentation of those who might not have been present when some of the world's most significant events took place. Channelers Barry and Connie Strohm bring through the spirits of those who actually witnessed or took part in these historical events and lets them tell their stories in their own words. Welcome to Channeling History. And now, here are your hosts, Barry and Connie Strohm.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Channeling History. We are the only show where we speak to the souls that made things happen. I'm Barry Strohm, your host, and I will be speaking the words of our spirit guests tonight.
And I'm Connie Strohm, your co-host, and I would like to also welcome you to our show. Last week, we interviewed the spirit of Paul Harvey, the famous radio broadcaster. We also played two of his most famous shows, If I Were the Devil and An Open Letter from God. You will be amazed at how many of his predictions from the 1960s are coming true today, sadly. All of our Channeling History shows are available on our YouTube channel. It's in the name of Barry Strohm, and the channel at this point has over 625 videos available. In podcasts, in addition to the Channeling History, we do three other podcasts. Hello Heaven on Friday nights, a weekly message from Jesus on Wednesday mornings, a Sunday sermon on Sunday mornings. We're currently consolidating all of our audio broadcasts on a new platform named podbean.com. Just go to the site and search Barry Strohm. This week, we're going to discuss the progress of human evolution over 3,000 years, from the Greek culture in Athens to modern times. In order to do this, we will channel with three of the greatest philosophers and psychologists of our time. From ancient Greece, we will speak with the spirit of Socrates. From the Roman Empire, we will channel the spirit of Emperor Marcus Aurelius. And we will finish with the spirit of Sigmund Freud. We will ask each of our guests the identical questions, so please feel free to submit any questions through the chat room.
Okay, as usual, we're going to give a short disclaimer, since there's going to be a wide variety of opinions tonight once more. The opinions or statements voiced on our show are the channeled words of the spirits, do not necessarily reflect our opinions, those of the Barracks Network, or of our sponsors. Now, in addition, before we channel, we always say a prayer of protection. So Connie's going to say the prayer, and we'll begin to channel with the spirit guests that we have tonight.
God, please grant us your wisdom and protection. Grant us the knowledge that we can handle and keep us safe from all things that will harm us. Keep the messages positive and pure love. Keep us safe from our egos. We ask these things in the light of the seen, the unseen, and the honesty of God. Amen.
Now, the first spirit guest we're going to have is Socrates. Socrates was a Greek philosopher. He was born in 470 BC and died at the age of 71 in Athens from a forced suicide from poisoning. His parents were a stoneworker and a midwife. They were relatively affluent Athenians. His education followed the laws and customs of Athens. He fulfilled his military service and distinguished himself in 3 campaigns. Politically, he did not take sides in the rivalry between the Democrats and the oligarchs in Athens. He criticized both of them. In 399 BC, Socrates was accused of corrupting the minds of the youth of Athens. The jury found him guilty, and he died the next morning after drinking poisoned hemlock. As to the religion, in the Athens of this time, there were numerous gods to which citizens gave sacrifices as they asked for favors from those gods. Socrates called the sacrifices useless and called for philosophy and the pursuit of knowledge to be the principal way of worshiping the gods. His theory of virtue states that all virtues are essentially one, since they are a form of knowledge. His work still influences modern psychologists today.
Socrates, thank you so much for joining us this evening. In the ancient days of human evolution, they worshipped many gods, as Barry just said, and they were quite warlike. Today, humans have many different religions that worship a single god, but are still quite warlike. Why has nothing changed since ancient times?
Thank you for having me back once again. I really appreciate the opportunity. Many things have happened, obviously, since I have lived. I have been able to observe humans from this side of the veil. In certain aspects, very little has changed about humans. You see, God gave them free will. And when humans have free will, they make their own decisions. Many make decisions that they want to be powerful, they want to be politicians, they want to be military leaders. And the military leaders, if you don't have anyone to fight, there's no sense having a military. So yes, during my times, we did not listen to the concept of a single God. The people of Athens, they worshiped many gods, just the same as the Romans to follow. We had gods of war, we had a god of fire, ocean, we had everything. Today you have religions, and sadly some of your religions teach war. I'm not sure how all that came about. I know that as we watched the individuals and prophets return and form the religions, that they spoke of peace. I know God sent them back to speak of peace and love. But once again, free will got in the way. And sadly today, humans are much the same as they were back when I walked.
For the most part, do you believe that religions have aided or harmed human evolution?
That's an interesting question. Religions always start out with peace and love, but they seem to wind up with violence and hatred. Individuals look for power in the different religions. Take the Pope, for instance. He is an incredibly powerful person. And there are many people that want to be Pope. And when there are many people that want to be something, generally good things do not often happen. I think that humans are basically the same. I don't think there's been any changes, to be honest with you. They seem just as warlike as they did when I walked the earth. When Marcus walked the earth, he had battles to fight. And there was your world wars. There were millions of people who were killed. So I really can't say that humans are any more peaceful than they were back before Christ walked the earth.
So then you don't believe that they're less violent than they were in ancient times? They're just as bad?
I don't think humans have changed. I think that they still pursue the same goals. I think that they do it differently. They certainly are capable of killing more people at a time, but I truly believe that they're just as violent as they have ever been.
Do you see anything that would lead humans to be less violent in the future?
I think that the only thing that will lead humans to be less, well, there are several things. If they would truly accept the words of God and his words of love and peace, and everyone followed those teachings and words, then they would be quite peaceful. However, humans seem to be humans, and I don't think anything but perhaps the fear of annihilation. If a country feels with certainty that if they start a war, they will be annihilated, I really can't see why they would start the war. Sometimes humans are not very logical.
That's true. One of our listeners has a question for you. Did anyone in your time speak of one God, or were they ignored? If there was someone that spoke that way.
We did not speak of a one God. It was actually not a concept that we ever considered. Our ancestors had worshipped many gods, and it just seemed like that was the way of things.
What characteristic of humans do you believe led their people to their failure to coexist?
I think it always comes back to free will. When people have the ability to make the decisions that they wish to make, they follow their own greed, their own avarice. Many people enjoy violence. As I said, if you're a military leader and there are no wars to fight, you're not going to be able to advance, and you're not going to show how good you are at killing others. So it's human nature. God knew what he was doing when he created humans. He knew that there would be a long evolution. I'm not sure he realized it was going to be this long, but he knew that there were certainly problems with humans.
Yes, he did. Still does. What type of governmental structure do you believe is best able to lead to humans living together in peace?
It has to be a foundation of love, understanding, coexistence, and equality. If people all accept that theory, then they will make a good first step. It has to be a system where where the politicians truly want to help the people. It has to be a system where there is no poverty, because poverty leads to violence. People want to raise their families, they want to live a good life. I'm not talking of communism or socialism, but I am talking of a political system where there are social nets, where individuals work, where they have to pay taxes, where they have to do all of the things that give them an interest into the community.
Do you believe that artificial intelligence will benefit or harm human evolution?
I actually think that there's going to be a period where it's going to harm human evolution. People are going to rely too much on artificial intelligence. They're going to allow artificial intelligence to replace employment. You will have a huge problem with people that are displaced and cannot work, cannot raise their families. People will trust artificial intelligence to make decisions until humans understand that they have to remain in control and that they have to do what is right for other humans. Artificial intelligence, I think, will be a problem.
Yeah. The concept of mutual destruction seems to be the guiding principle in avoiding human annihilation now. But how long do you think this concept can save humans in this age of technological growth?
I really am not sure there's any other concept that can save humans. Only if they fear for their lives and have an assurity that those lives will come to an end, then that is the overlying factor that will control their decision making. Today, there are so many weapons of mass destruction, and there are many more countries that are trying to get them. You may reach a point where every country has nuclear weapons. What kind of a world would that be? Someone would set one off and frame another country, and away you go. There will be no more humans. It's a very, very dangerous concept. It would be much more simple if they just simply learned to love one another.
Yes. If you were living today, what would you teach to aid in the future evolution of man?
Common sense. I would teach them that they must show virtue, they must show honesty, they must do what is best for their neighbor, they must show love, they must show all the common sense things that people need to live normal lives. There must be an equality. I do not see great benefit in a civilization where 0.1% of the people have all of the wealth. There has to be an equality. There has to be a sense that each individual needs one another. There has to be an understanding that all men truly are created equal, and somehow this equality must come into play in the political systems. Today, autocracies are ruled by single individuals, and they make great wealth off of those countries. Individuals are facing very, very difficult decisions into the future, and I'm not sure that they are capable of reasoning out how to make those decisions.
Each of the three of you had a very defined concept of the afterlife or a lack of one. What would you tell our listeners and why they should believe in the existence of an afterlife?
Well, I will tell you, there is absolutely an afterlife, or I would not be speaking to you. I have reincarnated since my life as Socrates, but I also found out that it was not an easy time to come back. What you need to understand is that there is a God. There is one all-powerful God. He controls the galaxy. He controls his angels. Heaven is real. It definitely has 7 realms, and there is a place for evil people. It is nothing that you will be able to prove while you're living a human life, but you will certainly become aware of it when you die.
What do you believe is the future for human evolution or even existence?
That is a very interesting question. I think that there is a 50-50 chance that human evolution in the future will be assured. I think that there are maniacs out there with weapons that can kill. Until you get control and learn to live in peace, just as all of the other planets in the galaxy have learned to live in peace, that there will never be a definitive answer whether you will be able to succeed in the future.
Okay, do you have any further ideas about the changes that you think humans have to make to assure their future evolution?
They have to learn to love. They have to learn that hatred kills. They have to learn many of the simple lessons that people have tried to learn through the ages. They have to understand that everyone has to be happy. As long as you have people that are living in poverty and aren't happy, they will want to have greater wealth, and there will be constant conflict. There has to be some type of equality, and that has to be brought to you by your politicians.
What role do you see religion playing in the future of evolution?
That's an interesting question as well. Religion has done harm to evolution of man. If you look at the earlier times, you will see that the church created wars. The church created great foundations of wealth. Religions can teach common sense and what God wants them to teach, or they can teach their own personal strength, their own powers, their own, basically building their own countries. A religion that follows the true teachings of God can be beneficial. Those that do not can cause great harm.
Now that you're on the other side, you've gained much knowledge. Not that you didn't have a lot before. If you had that knowledge when you walked the earth, what changes in your teachings would you have made?
When I walked the earth, I was a bit of a gadfly. I picked on everyone. I thought that basically that most of the individuals in power were idiots. And I told them pretty much what I thought. I think that today you need people that are honest and give their own opinions. Today, you are living in much more difficult times, but my times were very difficult as well. Athens was not perfect. Athens had many problems. Today, your world is not perfect, and you have many problems as well.
Socrates, thank you so much for joining us again. Did you have a final message for our listeners?
Yes, I would like to point out the necessity for common sense. Common sense is very critical. Common sense is what can lead you into a world where normality will reign. Love one another, do what you feel is right, but you cannot take advantage of others. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And I know I would have never said something like that when I walked the earth. But if you treat others like you want to be treated, that simple rule will indeed allow you to do what is right. So thank you for allowing me to speak. I know that Marcus is here and that he has words of wisdom for you as well.
Yes, this is a great evening for wisdom. Welcome. Marcus Aurelius was the Roman Empire from 161 AD to 180 AD, and is best known for his meditations on Stoic philosophy. He has symbolized to many the golden age of the Roman Empire. The early leaders of the Roman Empire were generally extravagant and amoral, exemplified by Nero and Caligula. He served a long apprenticeship under Antonius Pius and did not assume the throne until the age of 40. He disliked Christians, but there was no systematic persecution of them during his reign. During these times in Rome, Christians were by law punishable, but not to be sought out. His reign was troubled with plagues and wars with Germanic tribes. Marcus, in his writings, was always proposing to himself unobtainable goals of conduct, contemplating triviality, brutishness, and the physical world, and of humanity in general. His written works, the Meditations of Marcus Aurelius, are the thoughts of a philosopher king. He did not believe in life after death. So Marcus, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. Okay, in the ancient days of human evolution, they worshipped many gods and were quite warlike. Today, humans have many different religions that worship a single god, but are still quite warlike. Why has nothing changed since ancient times?
Thank you for allowing me to speak tonight. This is the first time I've had this opportunity, and I thank you for it. The Roman Empire was the greatest empire at that time. There was nothing that could compare to what we had. We traded, we had many people, and we also had many gods. The early emperors were, shall we say, not very good people. After Caligula was taken from the throne, the leaders after that started to realize that the people were more important. Now, when I lived, it had been about 100 years since the life of Jesus had been taken. We still had serious doubts about the Christians because they were speaking against the gods that generations of Romans had worshipped. It was a time where many changes were needed. We were still being attacked. We had to keep our legion strong, and we had to fight for our own existence. Humans today, many are in much of the same situations that we were in. Today, humans have religions based on single deities. It is generally accepted that the gods that we worshipped did not really ever exist. Today, humans seem to have as many problems as we did. So I'm not sure that much has ever changed.
Do you believe that religions have aided or harmed human evolution?
In the days of the Roman Empire, I think that worshiping many gods actually had a good effect. At least individuals had common interest in goals, and they understood that there were energies that affected the outcome of human life. Today you have thousands of religions. Many of them profess different things. You had an individual that only spoke one set of words, yet you have thousands of organizations that present those words in different manners. In many ways, I'm not sure this is good. In many ways, I think this can be quite dangerous. People seem to be drawing away from your organized religions today, and that is not, I think, a good thing, because religions do have social benefits.
Do you believe humans are less violent than they were in ancient times?
No, I believe humans are more violent. Today, humans have the ability to take hundreds of thousands of lives with a single weapon. We had to fight our wars with swords and spears, and we had to take lives one at a time. We did have certain types of warfare that would take multiple lives, but I think today humans are more violent than we were.
What do you believe will lead humans to be less violent in the future?
Only a fear of self-annihilation. I think it is only when humans understand that their actions will take their own lives that they will become less violent.
What characteristic of humans do you believe leads to their failure to coexist?
As Socrates mentioned, I think it is the free will. There are so many different opinions that humans can come up with. They are so dependent upon others, how they are trained. Each country has complicated morals and ideals. Each country has different ways of treating their young. Education has been changed. Today you have individuals that are not giving the truth about history. Individuals are misled about the events of the past. And when you're misled about the events of the past, you cannot make good decisions. So humans tend to believe what they should not believe, and they tend to not believe what they should believe.
What type of governmental structure do you believe is the best able to lead humans living together in peace?
That is a very difficult question. Communism and socialism fails, and it fails because there are always individuals that do not do their share. There are always individuals that do not agree in the great equality of socialism. And if you look at the people that govern communist or socialistic countries, you will find that they are individuals of great wealth and power. So there is no true equality. There always has to be leaders. Leaders have to be chosen for their leadership. When countries choose leaders that have the best interest of their citizens at heart, good things happen. The leaders have to understand that everyone in a society is created equally. They have to understand that if there are individuals that cannot afford to buy food, that they are going to be very unhappy. If they cannot raise their families, they are going to be very unhappy. The trade between countries has to be regulated so that no country can take advantage of another. There has to be equality in pricing of goods. And there has to be equality in a world order where all individuals basically are trying to pursue the same political goals.
Do you believe that artificial intelligence will benefit or harm human evolution?
Artificial intelligence, as you refer to it, is replacing the human mind. That cannot happen. Only humans with the feelings of emotions can make the proper decisions for many things. Artificial intelligence can assist in trying to achieve the goals the humans have set. But artificial intelligence will never have emotion. They will make decisions based on facts. Emotions can help control the decision-making process for humans and can make sure that individuals are protected. Machines do not feel protective towards individuals.
The concept of mutual destruction seems to be the guiding principle in avoiding human annihilation at this point. How long do you think this concept can save humans in this age of technological growth?
I think that it has to save people. Right now, it is the only concept I see that can keep powerful nations from destroying the weak. The weak, as long as they have the power to defend themselves and can defend themselves on a power with the strong, then there is this great equality that will last. But as technology increases, there will be individuals that think they can outsmart the other countries and do a first strike with their weapons. This will lead to annihilation. All of the leaders of the world must have an equal understanding. The great civilizations of the galaxy have learned to coexist and live with one another. They have weapons beyond your imagination. And they understand that they also must get along. So perhaps it is only the long-term concept of mutual annihilation can make things work for the souls of this galaxy.
If you were living today, what would you teach to aid in the future evolution of man?
If I was alive today, I would make sure that the young were taught consistently with the practices and words of what God has spoken. I would make sure that each of them understand the concept of not harming anyone else if they do not want to be harmed. On a small scale, if you think of it, that is really the concept of mutual annihilation on a one-to-one basis. If you do not harm anyone else, we need to have a culture where they do not harm you. There have to be penalties for individuals that harm others. Individuals the young must be taught to love. The young must be well educated. They must be taught how to make their own decisions, and they must be taught how to earn a fair living. The key is always the young. You will never be able to teach the older generations.
True. Okay, each of you had a very defined concept of an afterlife or a lack of one. What would you tell our listeners that they should believe in the existence of the afterlife?
I did not believe in one, and I was shocked when I died. The afterlife is incredibly real, and it's a wonderful place. It's a place of no pain. It's a place of great equality. Those that are living in an earth plane have got to emulate the conditions of heaven. There is no evil in heaven, and there is mutual love. If you emulate those two, many of your answers will be solved.
Yes. What do you believe is the future for human evolution, or even existence, the way things are going today?
Today you have maniacs in control of your weapons of mass destruction. You have powerful militaries, and these militaries have got to fight someone. You have huge industries that rely upon doing research for the military. and supplying weapons. It is inevitable that weapons will be used. The entire concepts have got to change. If people live in fear, they will arm themselves and they will prepare to defend themselves, which is a necessity. There are many things that people can do to live in peace.
What changes do you think humans have to make to assure this future evolution?
They have to open their minds to coexistence and love. They have to not feel that political power is the greatest thing to achieve, and they have to learn to love one another.
What role do you see religion playing in the future evolution?
That is a very interesting question. Religion can help or religion can hurt. There are currently religions that teach violence. There are currently religions that teach that they are the only ones that will allow access to heaven, and could not be more wrong. Every human individual soul will go to heaven. If the religions decide that they are going to truly try to help others, that they will do charitable things, religions can provide the safety net that cultures require, but they have to understand that they are not instruments of violence.
Now that you're on the other side, you've gained so much knowledge, not that you didn't have a lot before. If you had that knowledge when you walked the earth, what changes in your teachings would you have made?
I would teach them an afterlife, and must admit I was negative towards the Christians. Now that I'm on the other side, I truly understand that the Christians were following the words of God, and I would have helped those religions. I would have made sure they were not persecuted. I would have tried to instill an education of a single God into the children, and I would have tried to create more universal places of education for the young.
Marcus, thank you so much for adding your wisdom. Do you have a final message for us?
Yes, I do. I lived in a very unique time, and I tried to do the best I could for the people. Even though I did not believe in an afterlife, I tried to make life as good as it could be. I tried to make improvements, and I tried to find peace. It was a difficult time. The rulers before me had conquered many countries, and those countries wanted to be free, so there was a continuous stream of warfare. I wanted to show my people that they could get along, and I wanted to show them that it was possible for a leader to try to be virtuous and try to be honest. Sadly, when I passed, the future leaders did not follow some of the things that I did, and in the end, the Roman Empire failed. The people have got to understand that every great civilization or country or political power has failed. The Greek failed, Romans failed, many cultures through the years have failed, and it is all because people cannot simply get along and try to help to the mutual benefit of others. As soon as individuals learn that they need others, they cannot exist without the influence of others and the help of others. When that takes place, then you will find that human evolution will take a great step forward. The be-all and the end-all is not weapons of mass destruction. What will save humanity is a general understanding of love and coexistence. I know you continuously hear that and you probably get tired of it. But until all humans understand their reliance on others, want to help others, and want to do what is right and show common sense. There is no common answer. So thank you very much for allowing me to speak. I truly appreciate the opportunity. Thank you so much.
And thank you. We really appreciate you coming with us.
Okay. Sigmund Freud was born in 1856 and died in 1939, and is often referred to as the father of modern psychology. He revolutionized how we think about and treat mental health conditions. He founded psychoanalysis as a way of listening to patients. His work supported the belief that not all mental illnesses have physiological causes. His works contributed to our understanding of human development and personality. He exhibited pessimism about the future of civilization. He considered God as a fantasy, and based on the infantile need for a dominant father figure. And he stated that religion was a necessity in the development of early civilization to help restrain violent impulses that can now be discarded in favor of science and reason. He referred to religion with its repetitive rituals as a universal obsessional neurosis. Connie?
Sigmund, thank you for joining us again. These questions are going to seem a little familiar. In the ancient days of human evolution, they worshipped many gods and were quite warlike. Today, humans have many different religions that worship a single god, but are still quite warlike. Why has nothing changed since ancient times?
Because religions are nothing but power-hungry organizations. Religions are supposed to help others. Religions are supposed to teach the words of God, as I found out when I came over from the Life Veil. Religions can be very dangerous. Religions can become military organizations, as you're seeing in the Middle East now. Religions have basically changed world doctrines through the years. The Catholic Church controlled religion for 1,500 years, and their leaders changed the wording to what they felt Jesus said and what they felt would help give the church greater powers. They created fear. They created the concept of hell. They created many things that have actually harmed human evolution. There are some churches that have done great things. There are some churches that do great things to help others. There are some churches that create incredible wealth and do not use that wealth to help others. So you see, there are thousands of different religions, and I am not aware of any that truly follow the commandments and the words that Jesus spoke.
So would you say for the most part that religions have aided or harmed human evolution?
I think that they have indeed helped curtail some violence in evolution, but I also believe that there are instances where they contributed to great violence. Religion has helped at times, and it has hindered at many times. So there is no one single answer.
Do you believe humans are less violent than they were in ancient times?
I think that many individuals on their own are less violent. I think that there are many people that just simply want to work and live in peace. But I think that the leaders of the countries are much more violent. Much has changed because of the advent of nuclear weapons. Today you can destroy the world. In earlier times, they could only destroy countries. So times are much more violent, and there is no other way around it. Armageddon can be real.
What do you believe will lead humans to be less violent in the future?
The realization that they don't want to die, Death is inevitable, but individuals do not want to rush that process. If they do not become peaceful, humans are going to find that their death will be quite imminent. If they learn to live in peace, then progress can truly be made.
What human characteristic do you believe led to their failure to coexist?
Hatred. Individuals cannot see equality among one another. Individuals cannot look at a person of a different skin color and see an equality. Individuals often thrive upon hatred instead of thriving upon love, instead of thriving upon common sense and equality. Hatred is the most difficult emotion to control among humans, and it will be hatred that will end humanity.
What type of governmental structure do you believe is the best able to lead humans to living together in peace?
I'm not sure it's been established that humans can live together in peace. I know, since I'm on the other side, that there are civilizations where the individuals truly do live in peace, but it has been an evolution of possibly millions of years for them to reach that point. Humans have this inner hatred. I know God wants them to have this inner love, but evil creates this hatred. And as long as there is hatred, it's going to be very difficult to live in peace.
Do you believe that artificial intelligence will benefit or harm human evolution?
I'm not too sure that human intelligence has truly evolved in the direction it should be evolving. Individuals feel that they gain what they call knowledge, and that becomes a rule. Humans have got to understand that there are no fixed rules in this universe. There are many different dimensions that they have no idea exists, and there are many different concepts that they have never even thought of. So it's not that humans have become so intelligent. And if they create machines that think for them, they are just walking into the doorway of destruction. Humans, as Marcus said, have emotions, and emotions help control the thought process. If the thought process is not controlled from the heart, so to speak, then violence will take its place. So artificial intelligence can be a great danger if humans do not understand that they must totally control and use it simply as a tool.
The concept of mutual destruction seems to be the guiding principle in avoiding human annihilation. How long do you think this concept can save humans at this age of technological growth?
I think that is the only thing that can keep humans alive. Mutual destruction is something that everyone does fear. You do not pick on a bully if you know he will kill you. You do not let a bully pick on you without fighting back if you know he will kill you. So the idea is that you must try to obtain this equality in your ability to kill. That if you can kill, you will not be killed. But then, of course, the logic is that you must kill first so that those that also have the ability cannot kill you. So there's a great complexity into this concept of mutual destruction. I wish that I had the answer, but I think, sadly, that mutual destruction is the only thing that is going to get us through the next several hundred years.
So if you were living today, what would you teach to aid in the future evolution of man?
I would teach that it's not an overnight sensation. Individuals have got to teach the young. You've heard that many times. And It is something that you absolutely must understand. It is only through the education of the young, teaching them common sense, teaching them as they learn how little they really know, and teaching them that the mutual aid is more important than mutual destruction. The young grow up thinking that violence is okay. They're thinking that only a huge military to protect us from other countries is the only way that we're going to exist. Think about a world where there were no militaries. Then countries could not kill each other. They would probably think of some way of trying to do it, but at least there would be a peace for some time. The times are very difficult, and it is only through education of coexistence and love to the young. The young are the key. They are always the key. They must be taught history so that they can understand how other civilizations and cultures have failed and why that has taken place.
And that's exactly why we do our show, Channeling History, hoping that people alive today can get some wisdom from listening to you all. Hey, each of the three of you had very defined concept of the afterlife or a lack of one. What would you tell our listeners that they should believe in about regarding the existence of an afterlife?
I would tell them that if they don't believe in an afterlife, they are in for the ultimate shock. When their soul leaves their body, it is going to enter an afterlife. The fact that you are talking to me today is proof of an afterlife. Anybody that does not believe that there is one, they are just truly, shall we say, idiots. The afterlife is real. Heaven is real. God is real. The angels are real. I can vouch for it because I have seen all of it. I was not judged easily because of some of my ideas and my teachings, but I learned truly what the afterlife is, and I learned truly what and how a human life should be led.
What do you believe is the future for human evolution or even human existence?
At the present time, I would also give it about a 50-50 chance. The people that have control of the weapons are idiots. They have no concept of reality. They live in this world where they think that they're all powerful because they can destroy everyone. Yet they work to make billions for themselves so that they can live in ultimate comfort. I'm not sure the logic behind this, because if somebody uses those weapons, their billions are going to be useless to them. So I think evolution is in danger, and the only thing that will help is what we have discussed earlier.
So, you'd mentioned the changes that you think humans have to make in order to assure their future evolution.
They have to have a mutual assurance of love and understanding, a feeling of coexistence, and an understanding that violence is not the answer. They must realize that if they show violence to others, that violence will be shown to them. And that goes for the use of nuclear weapons as well.
What role do you see religion playing in the future evolution?
I'm not a fan of religion. I know that they do good things through charity, and I know that the potential for religions is a wonderful thing. But I do not see a world where you have so much disparity among religions that they can be of a true benefit for everyone. People are drawing away from religions, and quite often for good reasons. People are understanding the realities and the simplicity of the afterlife, and they are understanding that they do not need an organized religion in order to go to heaven, because they're going to go to heaven with or without that religion. So they can be great, they can be terrible, and they can be anything in between.
Thank you, Sigmund. Do you have a final message for our listeners?
Absolutely. I've been able to talk before, so I realized that this was another opportunity, and I was very happy to take it. Human evolution is a very difficult concept. I thought I had my own understandings of it, and I thought I had my own understandings of the world around me. I studied, I had great knowledge, I thought, but really I only knew some facts. Those facts often I did not translate into proper knowledge. The fact that there is heaven, the fact that there is a God, many of these things went over my educated head. You all must understand the concept that your human life is a very short part of your soul life. Do good in this life, and the odds are very good that you will be successful in your soul life. You have lived many lives in the past. You need to understand that. And you need to serve the young. The young are the key to the future. So thank you so much. I truly appreciate this opportunity.
I would like to thank all three of our great guests tonight. I think you all should reincarnate and try to clean this world up for us a bit. The information is very valuable for anyone that wants to understand our modern world. Many are trying to remove history from our schools, and the past is always the key to the future. And as I said before, that's why we do Channeling History.
Now, Connie and I have started a new podcast, and we call it Hello Heaven. Broadcasted on YouTube, Facebook Live, Fridays at 6 p.m. Pacific Time. We interview listeners who've had supernatural events happen to them. We're currently looking for guests that have had near-death experiences. If you'd like to appear on the show, send an email to onestrohm@gmail.com and tell me your story. The audios for that show are available on Spotify, iTunes, Apple Podcasts, and all of the other platforms. My 10th book, Modern Messages of the Archangels, is now available for purchase. You can buy it in audiobook, video, hardcover, ebook on Amazon. You can find signed copies are available on my website, barrystrohm.com. We've channeled 20 different archangels in this book, many of which you never heard of, but I know you will enjoy their messages.
I'd like to thank you all for joining us tonight on Channeling History. This week we brought you the word of three of the greatest philosophers and psychologists from the past. We always try to bring you the truth about history by speaking to the souls that lived the events. So please tell your friends about our shows. You might be doing them a favor.
Now I'm running out of ideas for Channeling History. We've been doing this for 3.5 years. So if you have ideas for shows, please feel free to email me and send them to me. I think that there's so much more I can do. I just don't think I'm smart enough to figure it out. So give me some suggestions. Tonight, we were kind of in the weeds with things, but I think it came out well. So please tell your friends about our show. All of our shows are available on the YouTube channel. It's in my name, Barry Strohm. If you want to download them, go to Podbean, BEAN.com, and just simply search Channeling History. That is Podbean is the easiest way to do a free download. So we hope you enjoyed the show tonight. Thank you so much for listening, and please join us Sundays at 9 p.m. Eastern Time on the ParaX Radio Network.
Tune in again next week for another electrifying episode, as we never know who will make an appearance or who will come through the portal. Any rebroadcast or other use of this program without explicit permission is strictly prohibited. Copyright 2020. Our Story Begins by Kevin MacLeod, licensed through Incompetech.com.